Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the AZ Wildcats post-game show. Joined by Ben One White, I am merely Mike Luke. We got the great Kevin L. Thomas behind the scenes. Arizona loses. What was the final score? 49-7.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes. We got a lot of things that we need to talk about here. Obviously, listen, Brent Brennan's a good dude. He came on the show. I've been saying since basically about week 2 or 3 that this dude is in way over his head. And there's a lot of things that you watch about him, Ben, and that he is just in over his head. This team was absolutely annihilated out there. Not only was this team annihilated, I think the bigger problem with this too is that you watch his coaching and there is absolutely nothing that screams next level. And a big part of this, and I'm going to be hammering this home basically the entire show, is punting. Why are you punting the ball at the other team when you are at the other team's 45-yard line and you're giving up touchdowns left and right and you keep punting the football? Why are you punting to me? And again, that is just emblematic of everything that's kind of wrong with Brennan at this point. There's a lot of stuff we're going to talk about, but it's bad. It's bad, Ben One White.
You started with the favorite part. I was going to go there myself. Yeah, I mean, top to bottom, look, this team is not prepared well. They're not coached well. And I think the biggest disheartening part today was you looked at the way that they were playing. That first half couldn't have been worse than it was. And this team kind of just quit. It just really quit. And it seemed like guys just didn't want to be there. The effort wasn't there. Bad tackling all around. I mean, I wish I could say I was surprised, but reason and logic and past history with the way things have gone this year have just kind of told us that this game was not necessarily going to be close. And I understand that we kind of want to put the blinders on and hope for the sake of the rivalry that something would be different, guys would respond different, but this team got their ass kicked. I mean, there's no other way around it. They had no chance from the start of the game. I think ASU had 650 yards of offense through like 3 quarters.
Right.
I think 350 at the half. Arizona had like 60. Just top to bottom a mess.
And the juxtapose is absolutely insane. You watch Kenny Dillingham, and my mom made this point, and again, she's my mom, she gave birth to me, so she did at least one thing right, or maybe she did one thing wrong. But she said, and I thought she just hit the nail on the head. She said, you watch Brent Brennan, and he comes across as a nice guy. She said, but you watch Kenny Dillingham, that's the dude that you want as your coach. That's the guy that you want to run through a brick wall for. And that is just something that Brent Brennan just doesn't have. You watch it on the sideline. And my question is how is this going to get any better? I mean, that's where I'm at. We're going to talk about what DRF's options are, but how is this going to get any better, Ben? I just don't see it.
Starting with Brennan. He looks like, to be blunt, like he has no idea what's going on. He's not really involved in the offense or the defensive play calling. He really doesn't get hands-on in the huddles other than, waving his fist or, raising the headset when Arizona does a rare thing good.
That doesn't count.
Sure. And that didn't happen at all today, right? It's funny. I was watching the game with a family member myself who doesn't follow this team very closely. And the Fox cameras kept cutting to Dillingham, and then they would cut to Brennan on the sideline. And every time they cut to Brennan, this person would tell me, who is that guy? He looks like an idiot. Right. And top to bottom, right? I just don't know what he does. I mean, to be blunt, and to feed off your point in terms of how does this get better, I don't know. Mike, signing day is in 2.5 weeks. You look at what they're bringing in; it's quite scary. Not only from a talent and evaluation perspective, but do you even have enough guys to bring in? And then I get there's the transfer portal, but what are you selling not only the current players, but future players coming in
well,
to this program. That's the problem.
That's the other thing is what is your next role going to be here? Because generally, and I know that I sound like a broken record here, but generally you don't get better by losing players like Territorial and McMillan. I mean, you saw today the offensive line without Big Jonas Savanea in there, the issues. Also, the other thing too that also to me is a little bit of an issue that I want to talk about, and you hit the nail on the head as well. And this is far from the only thing. I got like a Takeover Davis. Talk about regression this year. And not only regression, I think the bigger problem, Ben, is that he's getting beat for 20-yard plays or whatever, and then he's pushing a guy out of bounds, and then he's talking, or he's just jogging up the field. The team doesn't really necessarily play hard. I mean, there's nothing at all about Brent Brennan that gives you confidence that he's the right man for this job. There's just nothing. And again, I'm going to keep saying it, and we're going to get into the vision there in a second, Fernando, because I think that's a very interesting point. I get he's a great guy. There's a lot of good people. I would like to, hey, I'll put it to you like this. Benwan White is
I'm a great guy. Why can't I be the football coach?
Yes, Benwan White. Guess what? Benwan White's a very good person. I do not want him as the point guard of the Los Angeles Lakers.
Oh, man.
That's really all this comes down to at this point, Benwan White.
Yeah, and I don't like the way not only the attitude and the effort, but I just don't like the way they play. The problem with this team is they play not to lose. They don't play to win. They play scared. They play timid. They play passive. And yeah, Takeover Davis was getting torched. It seemed like every other pass, and it's almost like the TCU game last week because ASU was doing one of two things. One, they were throwing a bubble screen to the outside, and the receiver would catch it and break away for a 15-yard gain because Arizona doesn't know how to tackle. Or two, it would be a shallow crossing route over the middle, and the linebacker wasn't there, the DB wasn't there, whoever needed to be there. In this case, we're talking about Takeover Davis was getting torched play after play. Right. It's almost like Dillingham was just running, 3 or 4 plays every single game. And if you're him, why wouldn't you do that? It's working.
There's no reason
you're moving the ball down the field. It only took 5 drives to go 75 yards.
There's no reason
touchdowns.
There's no reason for you not to do it. And you know what? Let's talk about the identity here. Oh, wow, we got a super snap coming in. No cap. Back the A. Mike Luke. Time to fire Brent Brennan. Rich Rod time. Oh, we're gonna get to Rich Rod here in a second. I was asked by a media member, real quick, and then remind me to get back to the identity thing here, Ben. But I was asked by a media member. He said, everybody is like, oh, you can't hire Rich Rod, and he said, and this is a person up in the valley, and he says, why can't you? And I thought, listen, she won't, but I thought it was an interesting point. The identity. We need to talk about the identity.
What
here,
identity,
though.
Mike?
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Is with Kenny. Yes, Benwan White. I always tell people Benwan White is much smarter than me. There is a reason. You watch this team, though. You watch the identity of what this is. You knew, if you watched that Kenny Dillingham interview, you knew exactly. He said, my identity is this. We are going to be about, my job is to be about the players. I want to get them paid. I want to turn them into great football players. I want to be able to get them to be able to succeed in life. And he's done exactly that. When you ask Brent Brennan, what is your identity? It's, I think we'd like to throw the ball downfield. I mean, he said that multiple times. Okay, yeah, good, cool. Like, you want to throw the ball downfield. Excellent. There's just none, though. There is no identity. There is no reason to be able to, support this. I don't know what else to say.
Look, I've heard a lot of conversation over the last couple of weeks talking about Arizona's roster. People saying, hey, maybe this roster isn't as good as we thought they would be. Maybe the players just aren't good enough. I'm sorry. Out of all the big sports, I think coaching matters the absolute most in college football.
No doubt, 1,000%.
And the NFL, right? I mean, look at what Jim Harbaugh is doing with the Chargers. I know
with the same thing with Brandon Staley, less talent than Brandon Staley had. Yes.
Exactly. So we don't need to get too much into that. But my point is, if you don't have an identity, you don't have a football team, right?
Right.
To me, I think your identity is right. You should try to play a pro style. You should be big and aggressive and physical on the line of scrimmage, which you're not. Granted, I know injuries have had some of that to do with, right? But
they weren't even good. But they weren't even good when they were healthy, though. That's the problem.
Right. And when you bring back talents like Jonah and some of these other guys on both sides of the line, and each one of these players is getting significantly worse. I think that's your problem, right? When you have all the talent that you do and the regression is just there week after week. I understand injuries, but for God's sake, like Arizona can't even get under center and hand the ball off just because their lineman can't hold a block for even 2 seconds to open up a hole for Conley. I mean, every run play is in the gun, and I think we saw that at one point it was 4th and 1 there in the first half. Arizona was down, I think, 3 or 4 scores at that point. And yeah, I mean, it just trickles down into everything you're doing. When you have no identity, you have no football team, you have no ability to score points, you have no ability to stop the opposition. And I think everything that's gone wrong with this team this year was just more or less, combined into one today. I mean, you saw top to bottom all the issues this team had, and it was staring you right in the face. There was nothing you can do about it.
Oh, I just spent Fuchs. Sorry, hold on. I got you, my man. All right, here we go. No. All right, Mike, is the money there? Yes. And if it is, why does DRF keep him? Boosters can give all the money to, and that's disrespectful to the boosters. You're my guy. Hold on, I got you. I had you at the top. Here's what I've understood, and I've talked with a number of people that have said the exact same thing. She has enough money to be able to make this happen if she really wants to be able to make this happen. Now, I think there is a philosophy that you can't fire a coach after 1 year. I don't agree with that at all, because if I know the coach isn't that, but I think there's also kind of the mentality that, well, we want to invest, get a real offensive coordinator in there because she likes Brent Brennan. That should mean absolutely nothing to me, but at the same time, the money is there. So that it's going to be really, really interesting to see how this does play. Now, that $10 also wasn't for my question. It was for you to keep doing this, and also to get Del Taco. But dude, you're my man. I appreciate you, bro.
Why haven't we had a remote yet at Del Taco, or better yet, a live show of Mike Luke with the phone in his car going through the drive-thru to get a Del Taco cheeseburger?
Now, I'm going to give myself some credit here on this. I was the first person out on, again, I'm wrong on most things. I was the first person that was out on Brent Brennan, and I was out on Brent Brennan very, very early, and to the point where people were messaging Shearer, and I don't think he would care. Lev was messaging Shearer saying, man, he's like, Mike really doesn't like Brent Brennan. Brent Brennan, the person, is fine. The problem that I have with Brent Brennan, though, is that he never understood anything that goes with this job. And that goes from, and again, I know some people don't care about this. I do. It is what it is. Like when you say that the practices are open to the public, that's great. That's fantastic. But then when you send an email at the very end that said to all the media people, do not tell anybody what time practices are, they're not really open to the public. Then you kick the media out instead of just talking with one person and saying, dude, don't be dumb.
Don't tell anybody, because they'll come and see me and know I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yes, exactly. So there's all kinds of things. And then when you watch it this year, like, 5-6 games into the season, and you're asked what your identity is, and you still don't know. That to me is all kinds of malfeasance. And again, I don't feel bad for somebody. Listen, I don't think Brent Brennan should be the coach next year. I just don't. Guess what? He's going to get $14 million. It's okay to be Brent Brennan. So when people are like, oh, this and that, I mean, you'll get some people, like 15% of the population, that never believes a coach should be fired under any circumstances. Well, those guys don't know what they're talking about. But before we get into that, though, I do have to pay some. We have to pay some bills here. Maybe some bills that will
be branded.
Yeah, branded. Maybe some branded bills. Yes. Branded bills, Ben One White. Branded bills. All right. The great thing with branded bills is this. You look at Ben One White right now. Ben White looks fantastic in that hat. That is a branded bills hat, correct?
Correct.
Okay, now you can head to Branded Bills and use code PHNX for 20% off your first order. Check it out. Branded Bills. Everybody out there, you guys should go get a Branded Bills. This is not a Branded Bills, but I have other Branded Bills, and I very, very much appreciate these Branded Bills. Again, check it out. The Branded Bills pay the bills. Branded Bills. Also, guys, let's get the wave going. Come on. Come on, everybody in there, get the wave going. The Gila River Resorts and Casinos wave. Oh, look at Ben's wave. Everybody get the wave. Come on, we need the wave in here. All right, now the Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Check it out. It's a fun experience. Also, what kind of experience is it?
It's fun and immersive.
It's fun and immersive. The wave, Mr. Tyler Warden, that is not a real wave. Jeff Mojave, I do like that wave, though. That's good. Fun and immersive experience. The Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You can see the wave from the I-10. Check it out. Gila River Resorts and Casinos. All right, back the A-Ray, the man, along with the great Dennis Walsh. Very much appreciate you. Shelby as well. Also, Gila River Resorts and Casinos, fun, immersive experience. Okay, now, here's the other thing, too, that I always go back to with this. You were handed, and again, Mr. Tyler Warden, I'm going to agree and disagree with you a little bit here. Yes, it wasn't as good as last year's team, but here's the problem that I have, though, is that you still returned 11 of 22 starters at key positions. It was not like, we're not just talking about like the punter here. We're talking about the quarterback, the best wide receiver. 3 offensive linemen, all of which were very, very good. Your entire secondary, it should not have been this bad, especially on the offensive side of the football. That to me is where this has just been humiliating. And OC Bodybuilders puts in there, he says Syracuse 9-3 after firing Babers. Ben One White, that goes into what you were saying. Coaching matters. Coaching matters here, especially in college football. Yes, we lost the line. I get that. But he's also got to be able to bring in players. I get that he came in here late. But at the same time, yes, you came in here late, Ben. But at the same time, guess what? You've still got to be able to add somebody. He added nobody.
Yeah, that's obviously a huge problem. I think the issue I have more so is just situational football. I mean, you look at the way Arizona's lost, it's not like they're losing close games. They've lost by 25, 22, 28, 44, 21. They're currently losing right in this game. I'm not trying to do the math, but at least 30 plus points. That's what 7 of your losses have been by 10 plus, Mike,
by
at least 20
annihilations.
Right. And I think that's the issue. And I think that's the issue because when you watch this team, they're not coached well. Situationally, I'm not sure what the head coach is doing. Players have regressed, right? It'd be one thing if you had some bad breaks and you had some close games, but this team's just not even competitive. And moving forward, there's no vision to sell. There's no hope to have because your top players are gone and there's nobody lined up to replace the caliber of what you have right now. So I think it's just one of those things where you got to rip the Band-Aid off now, man, because the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. I mean, I hate to say it, but Arizona football is going to probably be very bad next year.
And I don't understand. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
And I don't know if that's going to be because we're still riding with Brennan or if that's because we have a new coaching staff and obviously things take time. So again, right, you've got to get ahead of this thing. And I just think by keeping this guy around, it's hurting your program long term. I'm not sure what he's shown other than bringing players back who have all regressed under him, by the way. What is one thing or one positive outlook that you can take away from this season and think, oh, yeah, you know, this coaching staff really has a grasp on what's going on. You should have faith in them moving forward. Give me one example. I mean, I'd love to hear one. I can't find one. Can you?
Now, again, the other thing, too, that I'm also going to say, we got, by the way, 430 lives right now. Very good. Very, very much appreciate all of you. Yes, San Jose State got better without Brennan as well. The big problem also that I have is that if you're DRF at this stage, I'm going to say this becomes your hire at that point. If you decide to bring him back, that is it. This is it. I mean, this is your guy at that point. And if you're DRF, why in the I don't think that you want to be tethered to Brent Brennan. There was an ASU person who we both know, who fairly reasonable guy, doesn't necessarily cover football, maybe covers another sport. And he said an interesting point today when we were talking. He said, when you watch him, he said, that's not somebody you want to play for. That's not somebody you want to run through. He said, now, you know, if you're looking to stay here, cool. He said, but if you're a high school recruit, you don't want, that's not something you're looking for. And I think that is that's kind of where that's kind of where we're at this point, is that this just isn't the dude. And if you know it's not the dude, then you need to move on from him. It's kind of like being in a a relationship where you're like, all right, this just isn't working. And you just keep yours there just to be there. At some point you gotta move on. And Brent Brennan is just, Brennan's a good guy, but sorry. Gotta move on from him. I don't know what else to say here.
Yeah, and recruiting is the biggest thing because you only have such a defined window to bring those guys in. The signing period has moved up early. Things are so tight and things move so fast now that you've got to get ahead of this, which is why you're seeing college football coaches who are not being retained. I mean, they're firing guys now at Halloween. And, I think initially a couple of years ago, you would think, all right, that maybe that's a little too early or too harsh, but it's really not. Because if you're trying to build a program, at least for the next year, you've got to get ahead of it. So if he stays, man, he's got to revamp his entire coaching staff. We've got to hear some serious plans, but I don't really have any faith that that's going to be the case if he sticks around. So I'd love to be a little bit more optimistic, but it's going to get worse before it gets better. That's for sure. Now,
I will say this. I have no inside information on this, but Jake Fagus, Mike, now do you think they actually make the move? I've always felt that they have to make the move. I have no inside information on this, so it's just my opinion. I've never believed that you could bring him back. I don't, because the problem is the fan reaction to that would be absolutely atrocious. Also, why don't we talk about why don't we get into the Sanderson Ford drive of the game? I guess the T-Mac touchdown. T-Mac is one of the two best players I've ever seen here. That was a good play. That was a good play, Ben One White. That will be my Sanderson Ford drive of the game. What say you, Ben One White?
I would definitely second that. I think it's very cool that he gets to go out that way. Him and Noah Fafita did a great thing, right? Sticking by this program, trying to do the right thing, trying to come back and make things happen. Both of those guys could have went anywhere they wanted to in the country, more or less, and they would have been rewarded very well financially for doing so. But they believed in the program. They believed in the roster. And I think that's what's also disheartening when you look at the way the season ended, is it just felt like game after game, just the buy-in wasn't there. I mean, players just looked kind of disinterested at times. I'm not going to say that they quit prior to this game. I think today was the first true game where the players kind of just threw their hands up in the air and said, F it, after the first half. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's sad, but at the same time, I would say this about T-Mac: enjoy what you had, right? We wish him nothing but the best. I think he's going to be playing on Sundays for a long time. That's for sure.
Yeah, all right. Now, this was football is back, and so are the deals at Arizona's largest Ford dealership, Sanderson Ford. Shop America's America's most awarded Ford dealership with no hassle, no pressure, and no nonsense. Sanderson Ford. Now, we got Brent Brennan's quote here. This is not good. This is from Skier. Skier just put this out there, and he said this on 1290. On the radio, Brennan just said, "Stick with us. You're going to love every minute of it." That's just being tone deaf. That's just not understanding where this is right now. Stick with us. You're going to love every minute of it.
And it goes back to what you've said for weeks now. Does he think that the fans and the media are stupid? Like, does he think that we don't know what we're watching?
I go back and forth on that a lot, and I don't think that he necessarily. I think that Mr. Tyler Warden, the great Mr. Tyler Warden, I've loved approximately 0 minutes of it. Yes, I don't. Yes, I would. I don't know that. I'm kind of a bit lost that he said that. Yeah, I don't know that he thinks people are stupid, but I also think that he's incredibly tone deaf. I don't think that he has any understanding of what this fan base is going through and what has happened here. You know what? It's a little bit like it's kind of like when we had him on. I had him on the show earlier this week, and I said, "Coach, you said it wasn't your job to engage the fan base," and then he said, "I never said that." And then we bring up the quote, and he's like, "Oh, well, yeah, let's do it." The fact that
That was bad, man.
the
That was
fact
rough.
that the fact that some dork like myself that's like operating a podcast out of my guest room is telling you that, and you're like, oh yeah, good idea. Where are we at, man? Where is this? Again, you can think that he's a good dude like I do, but you also got to be like, man, this ain't it. I mean, this is just not it. I mean, the orange slice mentality does not work in Power 4 football.
Yeah, and I go back and forth on this, but at the end of the day, I try to keep it simple, right? I just think the guy's in over his head. He's not qualified to do this, and he's just not good at it, flat out. But with some of the behaviors and some of the quotes and some of the things that have been said this season, you almost wonder if he even understands or was told what the expectation of this job was. I mean, you're a head football coach. Your job is to win football games. What did you think you were getting into? Did you think this was a rebuild? What did you think this was?
It feels like, honestly, Ben, it feels like he did not have any idea what it like he was getting into. Like, I think he just thought that I can just go there, I can throw out the orange slices, we can have fun, we can watch movies after the practice, and then we can just kind of go from there. It does not it just doesn't feel like that. Now, why don't we go to the Desert Financial Credit Union by the numbers? These aren't going to be good. All right, 362 yard passing yard, total yards 643. Wow. 643 to 210. Yeah, that's
only one turnover though.
Yeah, I guess
let's cheer.
Yes, I guess that's all you need to know at that point. Yeah, it's like I said, this is bad. There's no way around it. And the problem though too is that there is absolutely no vibes whatsoever that he knows how to fix this. There's just none. And that's where it just kind of loses me. There are no vibes. And yes, Brennan definitely not driving a Sanderson Ford, that's for sure. But there's just no vibes that he's the man to fix it. If you watched him, Ben White, and you said to yourself, all right, there's he reminds me of Nathaniel Hackett in Denver. Gosh. Ben White has a very close connection with Nathaniel Hackett. He actually broke the Nathaniel Hackett story. This is true, Ben White. But you watch Brennan, and what is there anything that he can sell you on that you're like, okay, that's the guy going forward? Is there anything? No, there's not.
The craziest part about it is he doesn't even try to lie and sell you something. We're not even assuming when we say there's no vision, there's no plan, there's no identity, because we've asked the guy and he'll flat out tell you, I don't know.
Right.
Okay. Well, you're the head coach. Well, you should know these things, right? I mean, what job can you have in America where, you have to answer to people and you have to do things day to day? And, that's basically like saying, oh, I don't know what my job is here. I couldn't tell you. It's just bizarre. And it's very head scratching. I don't care how much it costs. You got to move on. I mean, I wish I could get more into detail, but I think the results and the behaviors and everything you're seeing speak for themselves. I mean, this is the worst coaching job I've seen around here since Makovic. I mean, just being blunt about it. So he can say these things, right? How it's a hard year, and I think you're going to read the next quote here in a minute. But again, if it's going to be so great moving forward, tell us why. Tell us what the plan is. Tell us what the vision is. And I'm not saying that even if he tells you it's going to make things better, because I think it's one thing to talk and it's another thing to actually execute and take action and have results, which I don't think he'll be able to get. But come on, man, like your ass is kind of on the line here. I mean, everybody's throwing pitchforks at you, and you can't give a better answer than that.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to some quotes here. What do we got? These next couple of weeks will be chaos in college football. Yeah. They got after us in every way. For us to be so unproductive today, it is soul-crushing. Miss me with all that. I don't know what else to say. Miss me with all that. Every single post game, it's the same thing. We are, we're trying hard. We're almost there. It's just not. We're just not quite there at that point. I mean, that's the other thing too. I mean, you've been in media your entire life, Ben One White. I mean, your dad's a big wig in it. You're very good at it as well. Yeah, you're actually good at it as well, Ben One White. There's a thing about being. This guy does not understand the public, how to drive something, how to sell something. You look at somebody like Jed Fish. That guy could have gone 1-11 his first 3 years here, and he would have still won the narrative. This guy doesn't have any of that.
Yeah. And it's almost like this guy thinks he doesn't have to, which is bizarre. And, I don't know if it's just him individually. I don't know if it's coming from a place like San Jose State where there's really no expectations and you can kind of ignore all that. But it's bad. It's bad. And something needs to be done. And something needs to be done quick, because the longer you wait, the more money you're going to lose as an athletic department from a revenue standpoint, a player standpoint. I mean, the list goes on and on. This team is just not going to be very good with Brent Brennan coming back. And I'll say this much about the quote. It's one thing to say this season was miserable and, I feel so bad and we're so angry. When you watch this guy before the game, when you watch this guy during the game, and when you watch this guy after the game, Mike, sure as hell doesn't seem like it. I mean, the guy's smiling down 4 touchdowns on the sideline, kind of looking around, lost on the sideline. So, again, I mean, you can say all you want, but the actions and the results speak otherwise here.
Yes. Let's see here. All right. Ben's Lindsay still the, or yeah, well, he's talking. Yes. And by the way, people are like, oh, well, I was somebody on here, GJ Kinney or whatever. I would take that dude in a heartbeat, man. At Texas State, you've won. I mean, yes, he's been very, very good. I would absolutely take GJ Kinney. I wouldn't even think twice about it. Yeah, but honestly, I get people that ask me this all the time. Who would you like? Anyone.
What's worse? Like, what is worse than
that's
this?
That's where I'm at. That's where I am at. I don't know what else to say. I would take anybody. Also, do we have any quotes on why he was punting it at midfield? Are there quotes on that? Because if there are, I would love to see them. Not necessarily talking to you, Mr. Kev.
Sheer posted something about it. I'll grab it for you, Mike. Give me 30 seconds.
If you want, that would be that would be absolutely great.
Okay, so I have it up here. Appreciate you, Kev. Brent Brennan says he punted the ball because he did not want to give ASU good field position.
Oh no!
and then Sheer being Sheer injects his own commentary into it, which he should. Arizona was already getting blown out at that point, by the way. Which I mean, look, we all watched the game. It took ASU very few plays to actually drive down the field. So I'm not sure what the difference was there from ASU starting at midfield versus starting at, their own 25. They were still going to score, right? And I think that's the bizarre part about it.
Yeah, and I guess my other I guess my other concern, though, too, when it comes to this is, and to our good friend Tony Gimino, and we know Tony Gimino. Tony Gimino is not somebody that generally is, the guy who is, out there being outlandish. That's generally me. Gimino said, you should go for it on every 4th down because you are never stopping them. And that is the key. You are never stopping them. And that's coming from Tony Gimino. Yeah.
Hell, Jason Benetti and Brock Hewitt were laughing on Fox talking about it when he decided to punt. And they have no ties to what's going on here. They haven't watched this team.
Yeah, and that's coming from Tony Gimino. And then Craig Morgan, another guy that very much cut from the same ilk, I think it's fair to say. A professional, unlike a Shearer or myself, a true professional.
And I will add this too. I mean, these quotes are fire. We're gonna have to keep going here. But he does believe that they are in a good spot with player retention for next season. I'll bet against that.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll see how it plays out. But you just got to go for it every single time. I mean, he said go for it every single time because you are not stopping them. And Morgan even got to the point where he's like, honestly, man, I'm not sure I wouldn't just onside it each time. Now, I don't know that he's being serious about that, but I also think though that I think that's fair to. It's fair to say you weren't stopping him. If you have the ball, and it was indefensible to punt that ball. That was the most beta move ever, Ben One White.
Yeah, and what you look at what their running back did. I mean, for ASU, I mean every other play. I mean every single play. It was just a handoff off the middle or a handoff on the outside, and I think he finished with 177 yards and 3 touchdowns. So good for him. And then the Bourget brothers even came in. I think we all saw that early in the 4th quarter where. Trent threw that first pass to his brother, right? It was his first career reception that turned into a touchdown. So good for those two guys. But yeah, I mean, point is the game's out of hand. You weren't stopping them, and you needed to sell some sort of hope or some sort of determination to not only the players, but everybody watching as well. You had an opportunity to do it. You decided not to do it. And despite the fact that you had 3 assistant coaches on the sideline screaming in your ear, why did you do that? I don't know if you guys caught that, but they did show that on TV. There were a number of Arizona assistants getting on him at that point for not going for it. But yeah, man, I just don't understand it. And again, I mean, the guy has proven game after game why he's not qualified, why he shouldn't be here. And it's rock bottom. I mean, it really is. I don't know how else to put it.
All right, now let's do a couple reads, and then we got to do some other stuff, and we're going to get back to this. But first, Ben One White, neutral. All right, now we were out there, and our good friend Erica L. Day was consuming a lot of NUTRLs. Erica L. Day was having a good time, a good tasty time. But again, the great thing with NUTRLs is this. It is also a fun and immersive drink, Ben One White. That is what we like about NUTRL. Check out NUTRL. Here's the deal. Keep it tasty. Enjoy responsibly. 2024 Anheuser-Busch NUTRL flavored vodka and carbonation, St. Louis, Missouri, from where Kevin L. Thomas is from, in the lovely June Thomas. Check it out. NUTRL, all kinds of really good stuff at NUTRL. Also, Circle K. Back the K, baby. Inner Circle. Look at this. Download the app. Ben One White, you go to Circle K all the time. This is true. Yes. Now, the great thing about Circle K, though, is that there's many locations. But the best one is, Tom Lemke, thank you very much. Hit the like button. Now, the great thing about Circle K is that it is the one on 6th Street is fantastic. Enjoy your member exclusive beverage deal. Inner Circle members like you can get any size Polar Pop or Froster for just 79 cents. Yummy, yummy in my tummy. Yummy, yummy. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. Now, let's see what Kevin L. Thomas just said. All right, the time for the performance of the game. Which one is that? Presented by NUTRL. They back the A+ performance of the game. Yes, the fans. We had a very, very good showing there. You look at all these people, lots of really good folks. Ralph Amsden, I had a really good conversation with him. Shears pal Ralph Amsden. It was it was very fun talking with Ralph. But Ben, a big shout out to all of those people. Yes, Eric Paz as well. Shout out to all of the fans out there. All kinds of really, really good stuff. Now, Granite Oracle Circle K is the best. Big Red Gaming, I do not disagree with you on that. You know what's kind of interesting? For me? ASU fans in here, not good trash talk. This isn't. I would expect more out of this. You guys are leaving me very, very much. All right, now, Mr. Tyler Warden. By the way, Mr. Tyler Warden is super tall, dude. Mr. Tyler Warden is not Jacob Franklin tall, but I bet he's like 6'5", something like that. And he says, "Give me a 39-year-old first-time head coach who cares more about football than life. That's who we need to be a head coach." We have small.
Pretty much.
We have very, very limited qualifications for the job going forward. But again, I'm going to keep saying this. When people are like, well, because you hear this, and Andre Veras, any confirmation to the KO to Arizona rumors? I don't know that I would necessarily.
Would KO do better with this team?
I think so.
Because I think KO would at least get pissed and try to fix something.
I think he would be entertaining as well. We have 2 super snaps. Hold on. Terrence Wilmore. Mike, please tell me he's getting fired. They're going to make me chief level toxic if she keeps him. Again, I don't have any insight on this, but I will say that I can't imagine how he can come back. That's the that's where I'm at. I can't imagine that he would come back. We need to get this video of the coaches yelling at him. Now it's Charles Wilson. This pod is the least impressive I have ever seen. You sound like you're playing Dungeons and Dragons. Well, you know what? Thanks for being one of the 425 live people in here, Mr. Charles Wilson. It's also I was going to say it's also a very unimpressive name. Okay, now, also, we need to talk about entertainment factor, because at the end of the day, the sports is still about entertainment. And I keep going back to this, is that if I am going to lose football games or whatever the case may be, I want to be entertained. This is not good. I want to be entertained when it comes to football, and I am not entertained by this at all. If we're going to lose games, let's go Rich Rod style, baby. Let's go 62-48. Let's have something like that. I am very, very excited about that.
We're such at rock bottom, Mike Luke, that we aren't necessarily expecting wins moving forward. We just want to be entertained in the losses. That is where we are right now.
Again, sports is entertainment.
But you're right. I mean, I'm teasing you. You're absolutely right, because no identity, nothing to really look forward to every single week, not competitive at all, out-coached, out-schemed every single week. I mean, it's the same post game every single week. This team gives up a ton of yards. They can't execute offensively. They can't move the ball at all. They have no plan whatsoever. I mean, it really is the same story every single week. Are you ready for more Brennan quotes, though, Mike Luke?
Oh, no. Oh, no. Let's hear it.
Okay, so I'm not sure who asked this, but asked about players who have eligibility left and players who perhaps want to return to this program. His quote was, "If you want to be part of building something, great. If you want to go try and jump on a bandwagon somewhere else, if that's who you are, then go."
Everything is just stupid. Everything is just, I don't know where it is. I don't know. Again, I don't know. I'm going to message Sheer right now. This bandwagon quote is amazing. So basically, just go buzz off. Or he's basically saying, good players, if you don't want to be here, then buzz off.
If you don't like me, leave, right?
The bandwagon quote, holy moly, what is going on here? But again, there's no entertainment value. That's absolutely, Brian Blackmore, the great Brian Blackmore, said the same thing. That is about as boring as the name Charles Wilson. That's the thing that I think that we have to come back to at this point, is that there is nothing scintillating. There is nothing about it. White Panda 10, building what? That's the other thing. That's the other thing, is that what are we really talking about? No DRF comments yet.
Not yet.
I would be surprised if there are. Yes. And here's the other thing too that I keep coming back to again. There is no way, shape, or form that this team should have been this bad. How do you not have a plan going into this season? And I know for a fact that he's very, hold on. Let's see here. Charles Wilson. Oh, Charles Wilson. Okay. Charles Wilson, the man with a very boring name. This podcaster with the eyeglasses. Who calls him eyeglasses? Seems like he formerly worked as a circus ring announcer. No, that's not good. Okay. Anyways, Tony Clifton, Mike, thanks for the NUTRL tickets. Absolutely, absolutely. And let's see here. Michael Klinicki. I don't know what else.
I disagree with that.
I thought I was
pretty hard.
I thought I was pretty hard on him. Most people said that. I can't have a guy. Coach is well aware of what I think of the coaching job that he's done. And I literally said, I'm like, this offense is bad. What is your identity? And then I pushed back on him when he said he never said stuff that he did say.
You called him a liar to his face, and you proved it on camera by showing quotes.
Right. I don't understand that. And I'm not beating up on you, Mike. You're a great guy. But I don't understand that mentality. What am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to do? Swear at him? Like, I get I just don't, I don't get that. I don't know what else I was supposed to do in that situation. Yeah. So, I'll leave it at that. Now, moving for yes, I was very hard on him. Now, this is G-Rod. Brennan isn't even vanilla. He's just frozen rotten milk. This is that's very good. Gronk really isn't a thinker. Maybe tight end coach. No, that tight end coach will be Ben One White. Now going forward, then we need to talk about fan engagement, because you are how do I put that? You don't have there's nothing to sell. And I think that's the problem, is that there's nothing to sell. There isn't, you can't say that, how do I put this? You can't say that, Brent Brennan just needs to get his own guys, or whatever the case may be. No, because there's nobody in the portal that you're going to get. Yeah, back the A-Ray says these quotes aren't good, man. He's just really, I mean, he's digging himself a deeper hole. He just put it Royce Samuel, Roy Samuel, two first names, son. Brent Brennan puts deodorant on before he showers. That's very, very funny. But Mr. Tyler Warden, putting it right to you. Now, it can't be like the thing that the U of A does where they just lie and they say that there's 48,000 people when there's really 14,000. Yeah, 14,000 I think is about the I think that's about the right number. And you can't win games like that. Or you can't make money like that, Ben White.
No, you can't. And I think it becomes really fascinating next year if he's back, what the expectation is, right? What is that magic win number? What are you expecting? Because if this roster is going to be significantly worse, which I'm sure it's going to be, I don't even know how they get to 6 wins, Mike. So at that point, like, how do you hold him accountable? At that point, I think you have to give him at least a year 3.
Well, don't you have to if you're bringing him back? Don't you have to give him a year 3? I mean, that's one of the few things that Shear said that I actually agree with. Because the understanding next year, right, is you lost the majority of your roster. It's going to be a rebuild. They're going to be bad, so you kind of have to give him a 3rd year. And at that point, he's got to show what he can do in the offseason, bringing in players, and the games, they just have to be competitive next year if he's back. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. I've been very clear as of you. I don't think he should be back. I don't know either way if he's going to be back at this point. But yeah, if he is the future for whatever reason, you're looking at another 24 months. This isn't just a thing where, they bring some guys back, but the majority of the guys leave and they're not very talented and they're still not very coached. They're not coached very well. And, they lose the majority of their games and, the athletic department gets frustrated and fires him mid-season. I don't think that'll happen at all. You're kind of all in or all out. And to me, you've got to be all out. Okay, now I'll tell you what, before we get to that, let's help out Kevin L. Thomas. Let's check, first of all, let's take a quick break, 2-second pause. Sanderson Ford. Here's the deal with Sanderson Ford. Look at that thing, Ben White. Would you rock a Sanderson Ford? I think you would. I don't think that Brent Brennan would rock a Sanderson Ford.
I would definitely rock it, and I think you could almost rock it as well, Mike Luke.
Maybe in the booster seat?
Yep. Or sitting on the armrest.
Sitting on the armrest. You're giving me some credit, though. Sanderson Ford, though. You look at everything that Arizona football wasn't this year, it is what Sanderson Ford is. Girth, strength. I don't know what this is, but it's Sanderson Ford. Check it out. The great thing about Sanderson Ford is this, too, is that you got all kinds of really good deals going on at Sanderson Ford. You will thank me later on this one. Get the new 2024 F-150 truck with 3.9% APR financing for 66 months, plus up to $4,000 cash back. Similar savings on over 900 new and pre-owned vehicles on the lot. So don't miss the Sanderson Ford Black Friday thank you sale. OAC through Ford credit up to $4,000 cash back, requires trade-in of 95 or newer vehicle. Offers expire November 30th and game time. What time is it? Game time. Ooh. Okay, game time. Now, Ben White, have you ever used game time?
I have. I used Game Time to go to a concert, I believe, a few months ago.
All right, game time. Okay, now with oh wow, and very, very nice. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time. What time is it? Game time. Ooh. Okay, now, no, we're not bringing back Antonio Pierce.
I don't think he's allowed back. He's not allowed back football. Period.
He's not back. He's not allowed back for like 10 years, dude. All right, we got a Trey Smith quote here from the great Kevin L. Thomas. He knows what he's talking about. He's just working on getting it together. Trey Smith on Brent Brennan. Smith spent 3 seasons with Brennan at San Jose State before following him to Arizona. Yeah, that's not good.
No, it's not. And I think somebody like Trey Smith has been with him from day one. There's obviously bias behind that quote. The quotes I go back to throughout the year, just talking to some of these players, key players, right? When they talk about where things are and the struggles, some guys have blatantly said, Mike, that we feel like we have the talent to win these games, and that hasn't come to fruition.
That is just not come to fruition, and I think that's the yeah, I mean, of course Trey Smith is going to say that. I can't
Sure.
yeah, of course he's going to say that. Now is Brent Brennan? I don't know. I think he might actually be. I can't think of anybody that's really worse. Yeah, AJW BB is just warming up, guys. Calm down. See, was this season maybe just a flesh wound for Arizona football? Somebody
was
said
this
that
just
up
maybe the preseason? Maybe he thinks he's coaching the NFL or something. It was a 12-game preseason. I don't know.
right. Now, Mike Luke eats eats bone and wings with a fork and a knife.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't eat anything with a fork and knife.
Yeah, I don't use a fork and a knife. You're wrong on that. Now, Paul Panhams, and another great name. Has there been any friction among the coaches this season? I get the impression the coaching staff isn't on the same page. Yeah, I would say that they're not all on the same page. I think that's probably fair.
I saw it today. I mean, there were a number of coaches in his face when he decided to punt there on 4th down. I mean,
yeah. I just don't get. I just don't get why. No, Michael Newman. I'm gonna maybe disagree with you a little bit there because Makovic did not inherit the talent that Brent Brennan did, and you could make that case. Oh, Speedy Luke. I'll be honest with you, and again, I thought Speedy Luke was smart to do this. Speedy Luke, did redshirted this year because they weren't using him, and they told him they were going to use him, and they didn't use him. And so, the people out there, they're like, "Oh, Speedy Luke should play," and show. No, he shouldn't. He needs to do what's best for him. Speedy Luke. So what should he have done? Played so he gets 1 carry per game and plays on this team? No, you got to do what's right for you. Let's see here. Aaron says, also weird that Brew, is that me? Has not supported the A all year after Jed. No, I have supported the A. I'm supporting the A by saying the right person isn't the coach. That's called that. The people, you know what I hate, Ben? And I think there's about 15% of the population that is like this. And that just believe no matter what, you just have to support the coach. No matter what, it doesn't matter what the product is, you have to just support the coach. And, it's all orange slices. It's all, it's all kumbaya, everything. You have that to me is the thought that just doesn't make any sense. All right. Now, Jeff Mojave, Kevin Sumlin won more games in his first season.
Kevin
Not
Sumlin
sure what else.
I'll say this right now.
Kevin Sumlin was better,
man. I could be proven wrong. I mean, I don't think I will, but Kevin Sumlin is a way better football coach than Brent Brennan.
Yeah. Kevin Sumlin won games in the SEC. Can you imagine Brent Brennan coaching in the SEC? I mean, that would be...
I don't want to imagine. How about that?
I mean, I actually do. He's talking about Brewski, Mike, former... I was like,
yeah. Okay,
I was like, yeah, I don't...
Sense.
I was like, yeah, what the heck? Get off Mike Luke. Gingers have no soul. This is true. This is very, very true. But the portal also is something that's different. That's a big problem to me too, is that he wasn't able to get anybody in the portal, and that is a big problem. That is a big problem. By the way, Aaron, he wasn't a former Arizona linebacker. He's a former Arizona defensive end, my friend. Yep. But you didn't add anybody. You just inherited stuff, and you didn't fix anything.
No, and I think Shear did a good job breaking it down. You just brought a bunch of guys from San Jose State, and every single guy you brought in, whether it was San Jose State or somewhere else, not one player did you hit on successfully.
Right.
That's a problem. That's a huge problem when you're losing 11 starters. Granted, the talent is still there. You bring back a lot of key guys at key skill positions, and injuries happen. I get that, but doesn't that speak to the level of evaluation you are from a talent perspective? And if you can't even do that right, man, I don't know what you're going to be able to do this offseason. Granted, you'll have more time, and I would think you would have a better understanding of what you need to do. But to me, to think that players from San Jose State could just come into the Big 12 and fit right in, no problem, that's an issue, man. It just is.
Yeah. All right. Now, someone says, or not someone, Dirty Dancer. Someone felt like he was here forever, even if he was. It did feel like he was here forever. That is a good point.
It was a long 3
You know,
years.
it does feel like Ryan Day. We were talking about that up in the press box. You know, it'd be very nice if Ohio State wanted to get rid of Ryan Day. I would definitely back the Day if they were to bring him in. Ryan L. Day, what say you?
Yeah, I have no issue with that. I'd rather take Chris Peterson though. I like.
If Chris Peterson came, I mean, duh. Yeah. Do you think? Can you imagine Chris Peterson coming to the U of A? That'd be fantastic. So that will be very, very interesting. So on that note, though, Ben. We got to sum this one up. This was all bad. Also, I still have one more. I think I still have one more read. If I am not still,
don't leave all our friends hanging now.
Yeah, I do. Tip of the cap, presented to you by Branded Bills. All right. Let's see. Tip of the cap. I'm gonna give a tip of the cap to the players that stuck around and played through this. I feel terrible for you. That's my tip of the cap. Branded Bills, the perfect headwear and apparel. Use code PHNX for 20% off your first order. That's my tip of the cap.
I would second that. I think I'll be a little bit more specific. I give my tip of the cap to Noah Fifita for sticking around through this mess and trying to make the best of it. He did not meet with the media after the game. This was likely his last game as an Arizona Wildcat, so I've enjoyed having him around. I know fans have had the same experience. Last year was a magical season, right? 10 wins. A big win against Oklahoma in the bowl game. Nobody foresaw that coming, and everything that went wrong did go wrong. Wish it could have been different. These players deserved better. The fans deserved better. This community deserved better, and just sorry that it couldn't happen, right?
If you want to be a bandwagon, though.
Yes, I'm not sure what the bandwagon is. Maybe losing, but yeah. So tip of the cap to Noah Fifita. Tip of the cap to T-Mac as well, who is just a phenomenal talent. Probably won't see a receiver talent like that again.
No, you won't. They don't come here.
Come to this school. So really enjoyed that, and I know he's going to have a great.
T-Mac went out whimpering
career
tonight. Yeah, T-Mac's a top 5 pick. I mean, yeah, that's T-Mac is the best football player on the field by a mile.
And give him credit too, man. He didn't have to play in this game.
Yeah, he didn't have to play in this game. No, he's the man. I mean, T-Mac is the man. Future Charger T-Mac. I think you'd like to watch him up there, Ben One White. And
that'd be very nice.
Yeah, but
Justin Spears would like that too.
Absolutely. All right. Well, on that note, though, this was tough. This was obviously very, very tough. Hopefully, there will be an emergency podcast, Patrick Miller. Everybody out there, T-Mac isn't better than Scat. Okay. Okay. I like Scat. T-Mac is the best wide receiver in the country. Not only is T-Mac the best wide receiver in the country, he's going to be a top 5 pick. Is Scat the best running back in the country? Is he going to be a top 5 pick? No. Nope. All right. But again, very obviously frustrating. Hopefully we do have an emergency podcast. But Ben One White, you are the man. Very much appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate everybody out there sticking with us every week, watching this product. If you watched every game, you deserve a gold star in my book there, Mike Luke. So back to the A.
Yep. All right. On that note, though, very much appreciate Ben One White. I am merely Mike Luke. Also, let's see here. Ben One White got to give a huge shout out to Kevin L. Thomas behind the scenes. We're going to be back with you Monday. A lot to unpack. No days off. TTFN. Ta-ta for now. You've been listening to the AZ Wildcats postgame.
We all silly like the mayor.